Part 3 Fundamental Rights. Article 26 Laws inconsistent with fundamental rights to be void. All existing law inconsistent with the provisions of this part shall, to the extent of such inconsistency, become void on the commencement of this Constitution. The state shall not make any law inconsistent with any provisions of this part, and any law so made shall, to the extent of such inconsistency, be void. Nothing in this article shall apply to any amendment of this Constitution made under Article 142. Article 27 Equality before law. All citizens are equal before law and are entitled to equal protection of law. Article 28 Discrimination on grounds of religion, etc. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Women shall have equal rights with men in all spheres of the state and of public life. No citizen shall, on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, be subjected to any disability, liability, restriction, or condition with regard to access to any place of public entertainment or resort, or admission to any educational institution. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making special provision in favor of women or children, or for the advancement of any backward section of citizens. Article 29 Equality of opportunity in public employment. There shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in respect of employment or office in the service of the Republic. No citizen shall, on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, be ineligible for or discriminated against in respect of any employment or office in the service of the Republic. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making special provision in favor of any backward section of citizens for the purpose of securing their adequate representation in the service of the Republic. Giving effect to any law which makes provision for reserving appointments relating to any religious or denominational institution to persons of that religion or denomination. Reserving for members of one sex any class of employment or office on that ground it is considered by its nature to be unsuited to members of the opposite sex. Article 30 Provisions of foreign titles, etc. No citizen shall, without the prior approval of the President, accept any title, honor, award, or decoration from any foreign state. Article 31 Right to protection of law. To enjoy the protection of the law and to be treated in accordance with the law is the inalienable right of every citizen wherever he may be, and of every other person for the time being within Bangladesh, and in particular no action detrimental to the life, liberty, body, reputation, or property of any person shall be taken except in accordance with law. Article 32 Protection of right to life and personal liberty. No person shall be deprived of life or personal liberty save in accordance with law. Article 33 Safeguards as to arrest and detention. No person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be of the grounds for much or such arrest, nor shall be denied the right to consult and be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours of such arrest, excluding the time necessary for the journey from the place of arrest to the court of the magistrate, and no such person shall be detained in custody beyond the said period without the authority of a magistrate. Nothing in clause 1 and 2 shall apply to any person who for the time being is an enemy, alien, or who is arrested or detained under any law providing for preventive detention. No law providing for preventing detention shall authorize the detention of a person for a period exceeding 6 months unless an advisory board consisting of 3 persons, of whom 2 shall be persons who are or have been or are qualified to be appointed As judges of the Supreme Court, and the other shall be a person who is a senior officer in the service of the Republic has, after affording him an opportunity of being heard in person, reported before the expiration of the said period of 6 months that there is, in his opinion, sufficient cause for such detention. When any person is detained in pursuance of an order made under any law providing for preventive detention, the authority making the order shall, as soon as may be, communicate to such person the grounds on which the order has been made, and shall afford him the earliest opportunity of making a representation against the order, provided that the authority making any such order may refuse to disclose facts which such authority considers to be against the public interest to disclose. Parliament may be law prescribe the procedure to be followed by any advisory board in an inquiry under Clause 4. Article 34. All forms of forced labor are prohibited, and any contravention of this provision shall be an offence punishable in accordance with law. Nothing in this article shall apply to compulsory labor by persons undergoing lawful punishment for a criminal offence or required by any law for public purpose. Article 35. Protection in respect of trial and punishment. No person shall be convicted to any offence except for violation of a law enforced at the time of the commission of the act served as an offence, nor be subjected to a penalty greater than or different from that which might have been inflicted under the law enforced at the time of the commission of the offence. No person shall be prosecuted and punished for the same offence more than once. Every person accused of a criminal offence shall have the right to a speedy and public trial by independent and impartial court or tribunal established by law. No person accused of any offence shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. No person shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading punishment or treatment. Nothing in Clause 3 or Clause 5 shall affect the operation of any existing law which prescribes any punishment or procedure for trial. Article 36. Freedom of movement. Subject to any reasonable restrictions imposed by law in the public interest, every citizen shall have the right to move freely throughout Bangladesh, to reside and settle in any place therein, and to leave and re-enter Bangladesh. Article 37. Freedom of assembly. Every citizen shall have the right to assemble and to participate in public meetings and processions peacefully and without arms, subject to any reasonable restrictions imposed by law in the interest of public order, public health. Article 38. Freedom of association. Every citizen shall have the right to form association or union, subject to any reasonable restrictions imposed by law in the interest of morality or public order, provided that no person shall have the right to form or be a member of the said association or union if it is formed for the purposes of destroying the religious and social and communal harmony among the citizens. It is formed for the purposes of creating discrimination among the citizens on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or language. It is formed for the purposes of organizing terrorist acts of militant activities against the state or the citizens or any other country. Its formation and objects are inconsistent with Constitution. Article 39. Freedom of thought and conscience and of speech. Freedom of thought and conscience is guaranteed, subject to any reasonable restrictions imposed by law in the interest of the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency, or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation, or incitement to an offence. The right of every citizen of freedom of speech and expressions and freedom of the press are guaranteed. Article 40. Freedom of profession or occupation. Subject to any restrictions imposed by law, every citizen possessing such qualifications, if any, as may be prescribed by law in relation to his profession, occupation, trade, or business, shall have the right to enter upon any lawful profession or occupation, and to conduct any lawful trade or business. Article 41. Freedom of religion. Subject to law, public order, and morality, every citizen has the right to profess, practice, or propagate any religion. Every religious community or denomination has the right to establish, maintain, and manage its religious institutions. No person attending any education institution shall be required to receive religious instructions or to take part in or to attend any religious ceremony or worship if that instruction, ceremony, or worship relates to a religion other than his own. Article 42 Rights to property. Subject to any restrictions imposed by law, every citizen shall have the right to acquire, hold, transfer, or otherwise dispose of property, and no property shall be compulsorily acquired, nationalized, or requisitioned save by authority of law. A law made under Clause 1 of this article shall provide for the acquisition, nationalization, or requisition with compensation, and shall fix the amount of compensation or specify the principles on which and the manner in which the compensation is to be assessed and paid, but no such law shall be called in question in court on the ground that any provision of the law in respect of such compensation is not adequate. Article 43 Protection of home and correspondence. Every citizen shall have the right, subject to any reasonable restrictions imposed by law in the interest of the security of the state, public order, public morality, or public health, to be secured in his home against entry, search, and seizure, and to the privacy of his correspondence and other means of communications. Article 44 Enforcement of fundamental rights. The right to move the High Court division in accordance with the Clause 1 of Article 102 for the enforcement of the right conferred by this part is guaranteed. Without prejudice to the powers of the High Court division under Article 102, Parliament may by law empower any other court within the local limits of its jurisdiction to exercise all of those powers. Article 45 Modification of rights in respect of disciplinary law. Nothing in this part shall apply to any provisions of disciplinary law relating to members of a disciplined force, being a provision limited to the purpose of ensuring the proper discharge of their duties or the maintenance of discipline in that force. Article 46 Power to provide indemnity. Notwithstanding anything in the foregoing provisions of this part, Parliament may by law make provision for indemnifying any person in the service of the Republic or any other person in respect of any act done by him in connection with the national liberation struggle or the maintenance or restoration of order in any area in Bangladesh, or validate any sentence passed, punishment inflicted, forfeiture ordered, or other act done in such area. Article 47 Saving for certain laws. No law providing for any of the following matters shall be deemed to be void on the ground that is inconsistent with or takes away or averages any of the rights guaranteed by this part. The compulsory acquisition, nationalization, or requisition of any property or the control or management thereof, whether temporarily or permanently, the compulsory amalgamation of bodies carrying on commercial or other undertakings, the extinction, modification, restriction, or regulation of rights of directors, managers, agents, and officers of any such bodies, or of the voting rights of persons owning shares, stocks in whatever form therein. The extinction, modification, restriction, or regulation of rights to such or when minerals or mineral wealth. The carrying owned by the government or by a corporation owned, controlled, or managed by the government of any trade, business, industry, or service to the exclusion, complete or partial, or other persons, or the extinction, modification, restriction, or regulation of any right to property, any right in respect of a profession, occupation, trade, or business, or the rights of employers or employees in any state, territory, public authority, or in any commercial or industrial undertaking. If Parliament in such law, including in the case of existing law by amendment, expressly declares that such provision is made to give effect to any of the fundamental principles of state policy set out in Part 2 of this Constitution. Notwithstanding anything contained in this Constitution, the laws specified in the first schedule, including any amendment of any such law, shall continue to have full force and effect, and no provision of any such law, nor anything done or omitted to be done under the authority of such law, shall be deemed void or unlawful on the ground of inconsistency with or repugnance to any provision of this Constitution. provided that nothing this article shall prevent amendment, modifications, or repeal of any such law. Notwithstanding anything contained in this Constitution, no law, nor any provision thereof providing for detention, prosecution, or punishment of any person who is a member of any armed defense or auxiliary forces, or any individual group of individuals or organizations, or who is a prisoner of war for genocide, crimes against humanity, or war crimes and other crimes under international law shall be deemed void or unlawful, or ever to have become void or unlawful on the ground that such law or provision of any such law is inconsistent with or repugnant to any of the provision of this Constitution. 47A in applicability of certain rules articles. 47A in applicability of certain articles. The rights guaranteed under Article 31, Clause 1 and 3 of Article 35 and Article 44 shall not apply to any person to whom a law specified in Clause 3 of Article 47 applies. Notwithstanding anything contained in this Constitution, no person to whom a law specified in Clause 3 of Article 47 applies shall have the right to move the Supreme Court for any of the remedies under this Constitution.